Seth Frankel. I'm a museum exhibit designer, and I work for myself, a one-man show, doing design, graphics, audio, video, fabrication, installation, and kind of the soup to nuts. And my role on this project was actually a bit of all of those kinds of things. I came onto the project about 8 or 9 months ago in October with a May opening, and excuse me, the exhibit had been started for a little while and had been kind of, I think, sputtering without a designer on staff or as a part of the project yet as to what this story was going to be about. And so the first job often with an exhibit designer is to help organize the content. What is the story we're trying to convey? What's the big idea about this exhibit, and what are the takeaway messages that people who view the exhibit are going to take away from it? So that's where I started on the. In terms of the development of the project and how I approach it, first, like so many folks, I'm not a content expert of this particular story. I know Chief Niwot and the Arapaho people perhaps no less or no more than any other Boulderite. And I begin the way that anyone would begin, which is gathering as much as you can about what the content is. We had a fantastic guest curator on the project, Margaret Cole, who wrote one of the more seminal books on Chief Niwot. And so obviously beginning with her books as well as books recommended through others. We started with Margaret and the in-house staff. We then also went to folks who were extremely knowledgeable about the subject material, and always asking each person, well, where else should I be looking? What else should I look for? What else can inform this storyline? Whether it be video or audio or written books or images or artifacts. And so you begin gathering this large list of possible people who can contribute to a project. And like many things, it would be wonderful if you had endless time and endless resources to go to all of these people, to interview them all, to spend months and months and months reading. But time is a real factor in projects, and so in many ways, you go for the best information, but you also go for a lot of the low-hanging fruit. What are the stories that you can tell? What can you harness fairly quickly when you have a deadline that you're approaching? And so through that, you follow a lead, and if this one goes nowhere, then you're not going to go very far with it. If you follow another lead and you find out, oh, well, this person at the University of Colorado, Andy Cowell, he's a great linguist and has done a lot of interviews with the Arapaho people. So talk to him, and he suggests audio interviews that he has done. And so, well, all of a sudden, you start to fill in the pieces of the storyline. In a lot of ways, you have to be flexible as you're crafting an exhibit. You have an idea about what the heart of the story is and what that message is you want to convey, but the objects and the available resources will often define what it is you can really do. And an exhibit is different than a book. It's different than a film in that it's based on three-dimensional objects and artifacts. You're looking for the things of someone's life in addition to the stories of someone's life. Sometimes those artifacts are images, sometimes they're life ways and daily life kinds of things. But you need all of those kinds of things. When you're crafting a book, yes, those can inform you, but we want to show people real things in an exhibit and give them an opportunity to explore not just the written word about the story, but what things are, what video can be available, what audio, interactivity, because exhibits are much more multisensory than other types of learning environments. The diversity and the range of projects that one works on in one's life, and mine in particular. Just as a bit of background, I started out as an in-house exhibit designer in a museum setting. I was at the Smithsonian, and then left the inside of the institution and have been working as a exhibit designer on the consulting side for over 15 years. And so one of the things that has afforded me is the ability to work with a lot of different kinds of storylines. This is a history project. It's a locally focused history project with national and perhaps international ramifications. Uh, the kinds of exhibits that I work on range from history like this to science and technology, archaeology, paleontology, social history for sure. But also I've done a lot of work in zoological environments and aquariums and botanic gardens and arboretums. And so the common thread between these is that they all have a story to tell. And by using the exhibit designer's framework and approach to things, I'm able to tell a variety of different kinds of stories in different kinds of environments. Personally, I love the history stories. I love social history. And so I find that particularly fascinating. And even when I'm working in a zoological environment, I always find that humans, by and large, are interested in themselves. And if you give people access into a story, even if it's a story about the Asian elephant, related to how they as people engage it and how other people engage it, I find that to be a really valuable tool. So stories about social history I find very important. Like the range has been from doing exhibits on 19th century posy holders and nosegays to high technology oil industry things. And you know, I'm one of the things that keeps me going and keeps me fresh and excited about all of this is the newness of content every project. And so I get to work with some of the best people in their respective fields. Very few people know more than, say, a Margaret Cole about the life of Chief Niwot, like the same way another curator is one of the most well-researched and scholarly people on their particular subject, and I get to pull from them the best of what they have. And so I'm always pulling those wonderful elements, and so that's great. You know, it just gives itself away to me.